Hi guys, and welcome back to another DrAce video, and today we're going to be playing Ride 4 and we're going to be using the MV Agusta F4 1000 Ago from 2006 right here in Monza, because we have a little bit of a challenge, and that is from Sergio23. His lap time of 1:44.221 is in the midst of a lot of Suzuki Hayabusas, so it is our job today to try and remove some Hayabusas from the leaderboard. So here we go then, on board the MV Agusta and the aforementioned F4 Ago. Absolutely fantastic motorcycle, but I have a confession to make, which I don't think is anything new, but I will be honest with you regardless. I don't like Monza. Monza is certainly not a track for me, but if there's an opportunity to remove the Suzuki Hayabusa, which was my least favourite motorcycle in Ride 4 from the leaderboard, you can 100% believe I'm going to be doing my best to try and remove some of these Hayabusas from the leaderboard. And at the very same time, let's see if we can't beat the Belgian ace here in today's video. So onto the right hand side for turn 5, we're going to bring on the acceleration, and quite possibly the only good bit about Monza is Lesmo 1 and then of course Lesmo 2 in just a moment's time. I do like this particular section of the circuit. Unfortunately the rest of it is a little bit of a bore fest, but never mind, we will continue, we will push on, because this one adds to the challenge for me. As I mentioned before, it's not my favourite track, never will be. I think there's too many straights. However, it will make quite the challenge, because we've got to try and concentrate now, use a bike that I'm not too familiar with. I do know it a little bit, but not overly familiar with, so it should be a damn decent challenge. So going into the very anti-Ascari, flick it to the left and hold it into the right, and then chuck it to the left hand side. So keeping it nice and tight, we get a little bit over the rumble strip, but we're all good. No questions asked if we touch the green or anything like that, within track limits, and of course no lap time has been invalidated. So braking now into the Parabolica, the part where I really struggle to get right. I can never seem to get this corner right, it never works for me. I'll either go too tight, too late, just one of those corners that gives me a bit of jip, but knowing that we have a bit of a weakness there, we'll try and hopefully improve upon this video as we continue. But across the line we will be going for the very first time. It is a 1:45.111, so not enough to beat Sergio23, and unfortunately I am going to make a few mistakes in this one, so I will have to constantly restart the lap time. It's not actually turn 1, which you're probably all assuming. I have a very good rhythm braking into the first corner. I do find the next couple of corners, so turn 2 or turn 3, whatever you want to call it for the next part here, I either go too tight and end up slipping the rear a little bit too much, or go a little bit too wide and touching the grass. I could never find a good rhythm. And then maybe the very anti-Ascari coming out of the left-hander I did struggle a little bit with, but majority of my lap times all got ruined in the Curva Parabolica, which I pronounced terribly then, but the Curva Parabolica is what gave me so much trouble in this video. I just could never, ever find a good rhythm. I think one point I was up by like 7/10 of a second on the lap, and I was like, Jesus, this is going to be the one, and I would mess it up into the Parabolica, which is even more annoying because it's so far into the lap that it feels like an absolute waste. But never mind, we will press on. I digress from that for now, because we are flying right now, up by a couple of tenths of a second as we go, maybe just a tenth of a second, braking at the 250 metre marker, bringing it into the left hand side, just touching the rumble strip ever so slightly. When you clip the rumble strip like that, you do lose a bit of time, and of course it does set you up a little bit for a nervous moment as well. So once again, another nervous moment, but we did take an additional half-tenth of a second. So now going into the dreaded Parabolica, here we go, braking firm. Can we get it in this time and do it properly? We're not too bad, we're in the middle of the circuit as we now bring it to the right hand side, keeping it nice and tight. Might be going a little bit too tight here, going to keep it really tight, and apparently that invalidates the lap time going there. So okay, fair enough, we know now for next time, restart the lap, let's give it another go. So here we go then, just behind the Ghost as it stands, braking at the 200 metre marker is always a good braking marker for pretty much a lot of the bikes. Always go before 200 metres and you should always seem to make that corner. Never seem to mess that corner up now, as it seems. But now I've mentioned that, I'll probably ruin it in the next live stream, so there you go. Well, now onto the right hand side for the Curva Piazzono for turn 3. Keeping it nice and tight, but also a little bit wide on the exit there. I like it a little bit tighter than that, so I do figure that out later on. But for the time being, we are braking into the Della Roggia, bringing it to the left, bringing it to the right, just touching the rumble strip once again. Little bit of a wheelie there as well on board the MV Agusta, but we now go into Lesmo 1, a part of the track where I do very much enjoy and I feel very confident in, as it's now approaching, or at least it still is, 2 PM here in this Italian circuit, as we now chuck out the right boot, chuck it into the right hand side, bring on the acceleration, and we should have a good couple of tenths of a second advantage so far, so we'll get a good indication any moment now. We're about to cross the second split. It is going to be a gap of almost 4 tenths of a second there. That is pretty strong as we now go into the left-hand side for Variante Ascari. We did run it deep there and have lost a little bit of time. Let's see if we can claw it back now on the rise up to the Parabolica, getting onto the rumble strip and a little bit of a bumping weave there as well. As we're now up by 7 tenths of a second. This should put us closer to the Belgian Aces time, so we need to get this properly done as we go very firm on the brakes. A lot of rear brake being applied there for the final corner here in Monza as we now hold it into the right-hand side. Eager on the acceleration, too much tuck in, and the bike was beginning to whack and weave and wobble, but now we bring on the acceleration. We'll get across the line any moment now to end lap 3, and it's going to be a 1:44.293. So we have now breached the gap to Sergio, and we're getting closer and closer with every lap. Now it's a case of just piecing it all together. We can do this. It just needs a little bit more and a little bit better consistency, because so far my consistency has been utter pants. So many restarts, so many mistakes, just not getting the job done. But I did find that going really tight to the apex here, keeping it tight, keeping it tighter, you do gain a little bit of tenths of a second. We'll see that in the next coming laps. But we're going to brake very, very firm now for the left-hander. Down by 2 tenths of a second, but never fear, just because you're down does not mean you need to go straight back to the main menu and restart. We're not going to do that. We're going to give it another go, keep on moving, and let's see where we can find some extra tenths of a second. So already going into Lesmo 1, a little bit quicker. Lesmo 2, can we find a few additional tenths of a second, maybe a couple of hundreds? Very close, very, very close now to the Ghost ahead of us. The rear of the Ghost of the fellow DrAce looks pretty mighty fine, if I do say so myself, as we now charge down to the Variante Ascari, braking just after the 200-meter marker. Full front brake, bring it in nice and tight. We didn't touch the rumble strip there, so we didn't slip on the rumble strip, and there you go. Look at the difference we have now. Nice and tight, clean on the exit, didn't bump on the rumble strip this time, and we should gain enough time just to beat Sergio. So let's see what happens now going into the Parabolic. We need to get the braking point absolutely perfect here to make sure we have a chance as we go into the Parabolica. Still not confident with that corner. I still don't like the way we entered it, but it is what it is. So we'll charge down now to the Monza straight, and hopefully this is going to put us ahead of Sergio 23, or very least get us closer to him. But across the line we will go, and that is it. Job well done. It's a 1:44.137. We've got the job done so far. But let's see if we can get another lap going. Let's see if we can get close enough to, or really another decent lap, because I think we can actually set up a decent run now. We've got a bit of momentum going. I'm not entirely sure. Job for me as well and truly done, but I owe you guys at least another lap at the very least. So now onto the right-hand side, bring on the acceleration, bring on the power, and bring on the very firm brakes for the left-hander. We're up by 5 tenths of a second already into the first split. That is absolutely stellar, but we get a big wheelie coming out to the right-hander there, and now we're chucking into the right-hand side once again for Lesmo 1. Keep it on moving, keep it on grooving, avoid the rumble strip, that's not bad. Brake here for the second braking point, or the first braking point for the second Lesmo corner, and there we go. We're actually gaining a little bit more time. Second split will approach any moment now to give us a good indication of what could be. What is it going to be? Is it going to be into the 1:43 for the very first time? Up by 4 tenths of a second. Whoa, we can get further up the rankings here if we continue to get this one right. And went into Ascari a little bit too slow for my liking there, a little bit tight to the apex as well. Not really the same acceleration, and I don't think... I don't think we still have that advantage. I think that was my best chance of getting into the 1:43s. We still could, but breaking into the Parabolica, there it goes. My consistency has disappeared once again within the final corner of Monza, and I think that is going to be a disaster. We were up by a whopping ton of time there. What a blunder. Absolute blunder. But nonetheless, I'm very happy with my performance, and we managed to clear a couple of Busas from the leaderboard. So those are my lap times on screen right now, just under 5 laps here for you today. Very close in terms of consistency for the last 3 laps, but I did feel we had a lot more to give in this particular track. It's just not that entertaining for me. I'm not a fan of this track, so unfortunately 5 laps will do for me. So let's take a look at the leaderboard, and as you can see, we did get the job done. We did manage to beat Sergio 23, and most importantly, we did remove some of them bloody awful Suzuki Hayabusas away from the top 12. Apologies if you like the Hayabusa, It's just not for me. But upon that note, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, let me know in the comments section down below. If you're offended by my comments regarding the Suzuki Hayabusa, make sure to hit the dislike button. And upon that note, guys, thanks for watching, subscribe if you enjoyed the content, and I'll see you next time. Ciao for now. Oh hi, didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more DrAce content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single DrAce video.